that's why I'm really grateful for having worked at the Metro West Daily News when I was 23, 24, 25 years old, having had to make the drives to, Western Mass to cover like a state tournament, like basketball game, like, and having to, go to the McDonald's because that was the only place that had an internet signal to file a story, like stuff like that. Like, it really kind of like, by the time I got to the point where I was covering the NFL, a lot of it seemed easy to me because of, like the stuff I had done before.
Yeah. Albert or Bird?
Yeah, call me whatever you want. I'm good either way.
I'm going with Albert. I like it. So we're picking up a jersey we did a little repair on.
Yeah. So this actually, like when we were renovating our house, my parents gave me this framed when I graduated high school, and so it got stuck somewhere. I'm not going to blame anybody, but it got put in the certain part of the basement, and something fell on it, cracked, and then. As you guys saw, there was like little bits of insulation because it sprayed down. So you guys did a really nice job cleaning it up.
We debated, like, we wanted to keep it in, it's like similar to the original way it was done. So we kind of cleaned it up with that mat and added it. But I think it looks cool.
Did a really nice job, absolutely.
So you do a regular podcast? What do you think of the setup here?
So this is awesome. I mean, Scotty told me that, like, it was a real setup, and this is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome the way you guys have it set up.
Yeah, no. Scotty had mentioned you thought you'd been in the store before.
So I came here actually. So it was actually, you guys did an awesome job on there was so when we moved to Duxbury we were in Boston, we were in the South End, and so we moved to Duxbury. This was probably early 2016. Mm-hmm. And so we had one kid at the time, and Emily was pregnant with our second, with Drew. And so as an anniversary gift, I got this. We had these pictures taken of the two of us and our first son Steve, right when she got pregnant, and or right before she got pregnant. And so I had you guys do a really nice, just blow up this picture, and I didn't know what I was doing at all, but you guys blew up this big picture of us, and we still have it. Put a really nice frame on it. I didn't know what museum glass was before then, but they explained it to me, and it looked really cool. And I got it back, and you guys, it looked like, honestly, it looked like, not that we made it look like a work of art, but it looked like something you would see, like the name, like you see in a museum.
Yeah.
The just how it kind of jumped out at you. So that was my first experience coming here, and I've been here a bunch since then.
Hey, we appreciate it, and we didn't even know we had a famous podcaster coming in.
Yeah.
I would have been hitting you up for advice, long before.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. No, I had. So I mean, I try to keep a low profile with that stuff, but sometimes people call me out.
No, how did you get into? Was it a podcast, or were you on the radio before, or is it?
So no, I've done I've been in the media since I graduated college, and really it actually goes back to when I was in high school, and it was when I graduated Lincoln Sudbury in '98. As you can see, there's fall '97. And so my grades were not good in high school, and so when I'd say sophomore, junior year, my dad said to me, he's like, you got to do some things to beef up your college applications. Yep. And so he had called the newspaper in town, the Sudbury Town Crier, where the sports editor there, it's Bill Troche, then it was John Tomasi, who still works in the media up here, and said basically asked, is there any way my son can be involved here? Mm-hmm. And so, at first I did it, I talked to them, and the idea of being a sports writer was kind of I hadn't really thought a ton about it. I knew I wanted to be involved in sports. I knew I wasn't near good enough to ever make $1 playing them, but I knew I wanted to be involved, in sports as a career. So I'd always thought of coaching or working in the front office, and one thing sort of led to another with that, where I was doing, they brought me aboard, and I was writing some stuff for the team I was playing on, which was the Lincoln Sudbury football team, and then it kind of like was like, okay, like, well, you're pretty decent at this. You want to try doing something else. So I covered like some girls basketball that winter, and one thing led to another. And, you know, at that age, it was like easy money. I was making like $50 a story, and it felt like, you know, this is something I can do in my sleep. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's just something like I was naturally good at. And then, you know, I go to college and, you know, I did television internships, and, you know, like I got a lot of things wrong when I was that age. But I think one of the things I did get right was, I don't know what this is going to look like, but I better learn how to do all of it. So, like, I better learn how to talk into a camera. I better learn how to talk for radio. I better learn how to write. I better learn how to do all of it, because even back then, you know, when I graduated Ohio State in 2002, you know, it was clear the economics of the business didn't work. You know, and weren't going to work for the way that they were. And, you know, things at that point, the early days of the internet, and, you know, cable TV obviously was kind of like the big thing back then. And it's just, you know, you knew like all of that stuff was going to change. So it's like, I better be adaptable, and I better learn how to do things in different ways. And, you know, like the nuts and bolts of my job are to know what's going on in the NFL, and have an idea, and be able to have an opinion, get information, all of that on all 32 teams. But the way that you deliver that information, the way you deliver those opinions is constantly changing. And so, podcasting just sort of became part of that, I guess. Like, you know, like where it's one of the newer things, but, you know, like the nuts and bolts of what I do don't change much.
Yep. That's, you know, it sounds like a very similar struggle to, like, you know, that artists go through all the time, you know, and, you know, I think that presenting yourself, you know, like, you know, being a broadcaster, that's kind of an art in a sense.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, there's a lot of, like, doing something that you love and trying
to that's
figure
a big
out a way
thing
to make a living out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
would you be doing it?
Well, yeah, there's a process of elimination for it, too, though. Like, I think at the very beginning, and I mean, look, like, I think that it's this way in a lot of, you know, areas of work that are considered desirable. So, like, a lot of people want to work in sports, right?
Yeah. A lot of people want to be artists.
Right. So, like, the reality of it is, and this is just part of it, is that at the bottom levels, you're going to have a lot of people who are willing to work for free or willing to work for very little money. And so you've got to be willing to do that. The games are held when other people aren't working. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is. They're not suddenly going to start playing games on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. So what that means, like, when you're in your 20s is you're working nights and you're working weekends. That's when the games are played, you know, and, you know, that goes for high school sports. If you're covering high school sports, which is how I started, you know, like when I was 23, 24, I'm, you know, going out this time of year, I'd be going out to state tournament, soccer games, you know, the Thanksgiving football, like all of that stuff. Like, that's what I was covering. And, you know, you're doing it on holidays, you're doing it on weekends, you're doing it at night, and you know, what that means.
Love it, right?
Well, but that means for a 23 or 24-year-old is like you're not going to happy hour with your buddies. You know what I mean? Like, there are some Friday nights where maybe you can't go out, or you have to meet your friends out late at night, and if you don't really like it, there's no reason to do it. Because the money's not good, the hours aren't good. So, like, I think there's this process of elimination with people who, like, yeah, I think I like it. You know, and they get into it. It's like, I don't like it enough to do that. I don't like it enough to miss my weekends. I don't like it enough to not work at night, you know? And I actually think, like, I'm really grateful I came up the way that I did, because there are a lot of people that, you know, say things about, like, oh, well, you know, you should be making X amount of money and you should be treated right this way. I think there's, like, a lot of lessons you learn through the struggle of it. Like, I get frustrated when I was that age, when I was 23, 24. And I, you know, like, I would see somebody my age, like, oh, this person's covering the Dodgers for the Los Angeles Times, or this guy's covering the Cowboys for the Dallas Morning News, or this guy's covering one of the Boston teams for the Globe. And it'd be like, well, wait a minute, like, I won awards in college. Like, what did I do wrong? And I used to beat myself up over it. And, you know, the reality was that I was learning lessons at that age that I couldn't have gotten otherwise. In that, like, when, you know, if I had been making $60,000 or $70,000 and covering the Patriots in my first job out of college, I probably would have gotten really comfortable, and I may not have busted my ass the way I had to, because I had to do it, because I did it the way I did it, I had to bust my ass to even have a chance.
Yep.
And so I never found that comfort level. And so like all this stuff I hear, it drives me crazy. Sometimes I hear like from younger people, it's like, well, like I should have work-life balance, and like no, like that age, no, like at that age, it's a rat race, and you got to fight your ass off and work harder than the next person, and like like you like I am so grateful that I had to do it the way that I did it, like, and I don't look at it like as an affront to like my ability or anything else that I was making. I mean, when I was 26, 27, like I had to think about leaving the business because I'm still making like $31,000 a year. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't until I went to Dallas at 27 years old that I started making money. I could actually, okay, like now I think I'm going to be okay. You know, like there was no like sure light at the end of the tunnel.
Do you think
but that forced me to work my ass off. And like, if I didn't go through that, like I wouldn't have that. You know what I mean? Like it's like, you know, the same way, like I always say this about football. It's like, not like I was a great player, like, but this is significant to me because like my high school football coaches and everything else, like, you know, I learned what it was to really work hard for those 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
That I
Do you think the work ethic comes
That's
from
where
sports?
It came, 100% where it came from, because I didn't put any work into school. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
I mean, but that's where it came from. And then I, you know, like when I was 23, 24, 25, I learned like, oh, I gotta apply that to my career if I'm gonna have any chance of making it.
Yeah.
You know, again, like if you reach like some comfort level when you're that age, like I think you're in danger of really, you know, like I can't say I wouldn't have gotten comfortable and been like, oh yeah, hell with it. You know what I mean? I think there are lots of examples of that in my business, and that's why I'm really grateful for, you know, having worked at the Metro West Daily News when I was 23, 24, 25 years old, having had to make the drives to, you know, Western Mass to cover like a state tournament, like basketball game, like, and having to, you know, go to the McDonald's because that was the only place that had an internet signal to file a story, like stuff like that. Like it really kind of like, by the time I got to the point where I was covering the NFL, a lot of it seemed easy to me because of, you know, like the stuff I had done before.
Yeah. I tell my son all the time, I'm like, that's my goal with him playing sports as a young man, is to learn that work ethic, that you learn that struggle and
learn to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, like I always say that, like my oldest is just like me. He's hyper competitive, and like he's the one who, when he was, you know, playing 2-year-old soccer and they're in the little beehive chasing around like the little mini nets, no one knew the score, but he knew the score. You know what I mean? Like, and like that's one thing I've, you know, impressed on him. And like I think the one thing sports teaches you is how to fail. Yeah. Like how to deal with that. Like how, like that's the best lessons I got, you know, growing up playing sports. And I played all the sports from, you know, the time I can remember till I was 18. And I you know, like it's, you know, I'm not out there setting records but I learned to sacrifice for the team. I learned to fail, you know what I mean? Like I learned to succeed too. Like, you know, you learn to succeed. There's part of it, like anybody knows how to succeed. Anybody knows how to feel good. Like anybody can deal with that. Well, like it's like how you pick yourself properly, how you pick yourself up after you get knocked onto the ground. You know what I mean? Like I think learning to fail and learning to deal with failure and learning to keep coming after you fail and learning to, you know, it's just, those are the most valuable lessons sports teach you. Like that's, you know, anybody who's like me who, you know, didn't play anything in college or the pros or, you know, like those, like the pros, forget it. Those are unicorns. You know what I mean? Like that's why some of the stuff I see in youth sports drives me nuts. It's because like I know what that looks like. Your kid ain't going there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
How is that? Is it tough to watch your kids play sports in your position? No.
No, I think it's actually I think I actually have. I would hope I have really good perspective on it. Yep. You know, because I am focused on them getting the right lessons out of it. Yep. You know, I think it's really easy, especially with the way like youth sports are now, where
it's crazy. It's
like
a business,
there's like 5 levels of club for everything, and you know, like you know, when I was a kid, we had a couple of kids I remember I grew up with that played club. One played club baseball. He's a great athlete. Like played Division I. Damian Remetz is his name. He's in this picture over here. See if I can find him for you. Where is he? But he was a kid who like where is Damian in there? He's in there somewhere. But Damian was a great athlete, like miles better than me. And you know, Damian played 2 Division I sports. He played at football and baseball at Dartmouth, and he played on a club baseball team, and it was the New England Mariners was the name of it. And if I remember right, like the closest teammate like that he had like geographically was like 25 minutes away.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now you got club teams that have like 7 kids from the same team on them. So like that's not saying it's not good to play. You should be playing. If your kid wants to play, give him the opportunity to play as much as he can. But it's also having the perspective of knowing what it is. Like, your kid playing club sport does not mean he's going to be a Division I college athlete. Like it's just not what it means. So like I think every parent's goal should be like for the kid to have a good experience. Like maybe you hope the kid plays sports in high school, because I think there are awesome lessons that come from high school sports, and anything beyond that is a bonus.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's the proper way to look at it. Like I don't know. Like I get to be around pro athletes a lot. Those are needles and haystacks. Those guys are like not only genetically predisposed in most cases to get there, but then a lot of things have to break their way.
Yep.
And sometimes it can mean going to the right high school. Sometimes it can mean like having an injury, like because everybody gets injured at some point, having an injury at the right point versus the wrong point, right? Like it's just, if you're counting on that, you are, by 99,999 times out of 100,000, you are barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot of parents of try to get you to look at their kids, thinking that they're. What do you think?
No. I'm not a coach or a scout. Like but I do think it's I think it's good for me to like have. I really like enjoy being able to go and just watch. And like I'm coaching my kid in football now too, which has been a phenomenal experience. The sport I'm most capable of coaching in, which has been an awesome experience. But I also love like being able to sit back and watch. And I think it's important to be respectful too of like the dad who's giving his time when you aren't. You know what I mean? Like, and the dad who may know more about a sport than you do. And again, like I think a lot of times, the best, like again, like the best thing that the overwhelming majority of kids are going to take from this are lessons that they're going to use, like I did, when they're in their 20s and they're getting their career started, or in their 30s when they have kids and are starting a family. Like I think there are real lessons you get from sports that can serve you the rest of your life. And if you're focused on just your kid getting that out of it, having a good time, wanting to come back and play again the next season, understanding that it's not always fun, like that there is hard work involved, like getting just those sorts of lessons out of it, I think, then things will work out the way they're supposed to work out for you. And again, like my oldest is 10, so I still haven't, there's going to be somebody out there who's listening to this who's got a 20-year-old who's going to think I'm a moron, which is fine too.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to set up the kid for failure, tell them they can't do something, but at the same time.
No, I think it's great. Like I let my kids dream big, what I mean? Like, like I think it's, they should dream big. They should want to chase things, like do that, like have them like encourage that. Like that's all good. You know what I mean? Like, but you should also have realistic expectations and a realistic view of what you're looking at. I think all of that's really important to, giving your kids the best chance.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you sitting down and, recording with the small time podcast guy who's got big I have reasonable goals and big dreams.
Yeah, absolutely.